What's going on, people? Welcome to 137 Works, and today I have a very specific topic to talk about. So if you're not interested in this, I'm just going to tell you straight up, it's going to be about the PKA podcast, as you can probably tell from the title and thumbnail. So if you weren't interested, why'd you click on it? But yeah, no, there's where to begin. So yeah, so just that's the warning out of the way, basically. This is going to be entirely about this podcast that I watch. It's a 4-hour weekly podcast with Woody's Gamertag, FPS Russia, and Murkadurka, otherwise known as Taylor, and occasionally, more often than not, some kind of guest. But if you don't know anything about it, feel free to tune out. But if you do watch it and you do have some concerns, and I may post this on the subreddit for the podcast, I don't know. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to get some stuff off my chest because I will get into it, I guess. So the podcast has been going for years and I've watched it for years. This is not a hater thing. This is not being like me before Woody claims, oh, the subreddit was attacking me. Oh, the subreddit, like, I don't know why I go there. I'm such an idiot. The subreddit is always hating on me and attacking me. No, dude, this isn't that. This is straight up like, I've been a fan and a subscriber to Woody's Gamertag, and like I watched Wings' videos back in the day. I've checked out Taylor's stuff. Obviously FPS Russia I've looked at. Like, this is coming from the perspective of a genuine fan, like, who's like watched every episode. I never miss it. No matter if it's like, say for like in work, it's like the busiest week of the year or whatever like that, and I don't have 4 hours on a Saturday to watch it. I'll split it up. I'll watch it an hour on Saturday, 2 hours on Saturday, an hour on Sunday. Maybe I might miss like the last hour until like the middle of the next week or something like that, but I'll make sure to watch all 4 hours every week. Like, I've seen them all for as long as I can remember. Basically, it's come to the point now, right? So if you don't know what the deal is, they've got a Patreon, which they obviously, you can, if you don't know about Patreon real quick, you can pay the creators for certain tiers, whether it's like early access to the show or personalized this or that and the other, or whatever it may be. Like, you like say like one of the things PKA promised was personalized ringtones, for example. And when like the idea was floating around like years and years ago, well, not years and years ago, but like when the idea was floating around, there was like glorious plans about like PKA adventures like every couple of months, or what was the other thing, like big fan meetups and like paintballing and stuff like that. Like, none of that has happened. Like, they have had, what have they had, 3 maybe what you call adventures? They had the one where they went whitewater rafting, where they went with a Henrietta and they went out into the woods and they stayed out in the woods for a week or so. But like, that was amazing, don't get me wrong, and the live PKA like on location, that was all real good. That was real good content. The problem is, you can't just do it once and then just never do it again. Like, these people are still paying. And it's so, like, and I know that it's so long because, coincidentally enough, Woody happened to use my song in the whitewater rafting video. And that song that I made like, it has to be at least going on 2 or 3 years now. Like, a long time ago. At least 2 years, like, that since I made that song and since he used it in the video, because obviously that was a big deal for me at the time, and I remember. But yeah, so basically, they're not following up on Patreon. Like, some people are paying 50 quid a month. 50 quid a month. This, just side note, is one of the things that's irritating me about this, okay? Woody's Gamertag, literal multi-millionaire. He's not a billionaire. He's not like making tens of millions or anything like that, but he I don't want to put his numbers out there, but he is a multi-millionaire. He's admitted to it. FPS Kyle, FPS Russia. Obviously, like, we don't make the FPS McDuck swimming in a vault of coins jokes for no reason. The guy's literally a multi-millionaire. And Taylor, who clearly obviously just, does fair play, works an everyday 9-to-5 job or whatever like that, but is clearly doing well for himself. He's living a good life. He's not exactly on the poverty line. This is just one of the things that bothers me. Like, if these people were struggling and like this Patreon money was helping them like actually live and like was actually something that they really relied on, well, obviously if that was the case, maybe they'd be fulfilling it. But I'd say fair enough. Okay, keep supporting them. But like, you're giving, like, I don't support Patreon. I don't contribute to Patreon for purely this reason. You're giving multi-millionaires your money every month, and not only are they not like appreciating it, they don't take part in the subreddit to the point of, as I said earlier on, Woody literally says, I went to the subreddit earlier on because I'm stupid. It's like, dude, like, these are the people. These are literally like people that are just watching the episodes. I doubt like a lot of those are the ones that are on Patreon. The same kind of people that are passionate enough about the show to be subscribing to the Patreon and giving you money. You multi-millionaire, like, let's keep in mind, they're also going to be the ones that, if they know about Reddit, they're going to be on the subreddit. So for you to come on the show, as you did, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I was like, oh, I went on the subreddit because I'm stupid. That is so offensive to those people. Like, that is insane. Like, why would you say that? Now, obviously, the subreddit, any kind of forum, any kind of subreddit, like any kind of place where people gather to talk about something, there will be, and I was going to say, like, there will be like criticisms. A lot of them are valid. Like, things like Woody's mic volume. It was really low for a good period of time there. He seemed to have read that and then for a while just thought it was hating. He eventually turned it up, and then he got praise. Like, obviously, any kind of place, any kind of forum, anything like this where, like, people gather to discuss something that they're passionate about, there will be complaints. There will be things that people have to complain about and will want fixed or changed or made better, in their opinion. But just this whole idea of just none of them coming to it. Taylor dropped in once a couple of months ago now, I want to say, Taylor drops in actually regularly enough. He drops in every now and again to do like an AMA, sorry. Kyle, he used to, as far as I know, and I think somebody eventually found out his username, and he used to occasionally check out the subreddit, but just never anymore. And then Woody, just as he says, like, oh, I went to the subreddit because I'm stupid. Like he clearly goes on it all the time, much more than he'll admit, and much more than, like, say, for example, his Reddit history will admit, because he won't comment, but he's clearly on it all the time, looking for topics or looking for guest suggestions, whatever like that. But yeah, I've gone on like kind of a little rant here. It's just irritating because, like, we are all, like, again, me not paying, but whatever, like, we are all the fans, we are all the people that are really passionate about it. Another thing is, one of the things that brought this commentary on was I was just reading some comments about from /u/-replicated. Anybody that's on the subreddit knows Replicated was, like, at one stage the most active by far member of the subreddit, like, and he even made this like semi-long post about, like, yo, something needs to be done. A dude here, like, paid $50 on Patreon to receive, like, so another thing, like, he's paid 750 quid. One of the things that they promised was hangouts, and this guy that's paid these multimillionaires $750 has only received half of the hangouts, Google Hangouts. That's one of the promises on Patreon at that level. You get that, like, once a month or so. I presume it's once a month. You get to hang out with the host. So you get into a Skype call or whatever like that with Woody and Taylor and Kyle or whoever's available. And apparently this guy's only got half of that. Like, that's just lazy. Keep in mind, right, except for Taylor, this isn't three people that are, like, so swamped with real life work. They just don't have time. Like, I get it. If you're working a 9 to 5 and you're just crazy hours and you're under deadlines and pressure and all, like, you've got a family to, like, Woody and Kyle don't do anything. Like, they don't have jobs. They sit at home all day. Well, obviously Woody has the family, but, like, Kyle just sits at home playing video games all day. And, like, one of his things, like, one of the criticisms about Kyle is that, like, oh, why doesn't he bring back FPS? Why doesn't he bring back FPS Russia? Like, why isn't he making videos? And he claims that, oh, I've been, like, working on licenses for explosives, and I am doing this, that, and the other, and there's also reasons, like legal reasons and stuff like that. And obviously the unfortunate thing that happened with a friend of his or an associate of his a couple of years ago. But it's years at this stage. It's been over a year. Like, make a video. Take one of your guns, go outside and make a video. Now, it's not particularly I'm not particularly fussed by it. I'll watch I'll watch or won't watch whatever comes out. Like, that's up to them. But it just reeks of utter laziness. And for somebody particularly like Woody, who always talks about, like, oh, do the thing, touch it every day, like, make things happen, like, always be working. He's inspired by Casey Neistat's, like, do more and work hard and stuff like that. Dude, like, what do you do? Like, he runs the show, he makes the recordings, he edits and uploads. Obviously all the credit in the world for that. That's, you get credit for what you do. But you're not doing everything that you can, and you're doing the bare minimum is what I'd say. Like, to produce a show that people are paying, let me actually just drag up the Patreon. Is there an easy link to find it? Like, to just be straight up given $6,000 a month split between the three of them, and obviously Patreon takes a cut, and I guess maybe they pay Dr. Chiz. So call it at least $1,500 plus a month, I'd have to say, between the three of them. At least £1,000 a month, just to be given by your fans. They're all basically just doing the bare minimum. I began to talk about something earlier on and I got sidetracked again, because I'm very passionate about this, because it bugs me. It really does. Somebody brought up, like, Dr. Chiz. Oh, Dr. Chiz, he's good at sponsorships and he's getting guests on and stuff like that. He gets different guests, and he does. That's absolutely true. He got Scarce, who's pretty big in YouTube, and we've had, like, Philly D on, we've had Hutch recently. Obviously these are all kind of friends of the show. Quebcop, Pyro Puncher, again, friends of the show. I'm trying to see the last kind of big name that we had. JD 2020, obviously kind of an old friend of the show sort of thing. But anyway, yeah, so, like, he does absolutely, he does good work. There's no doubt about it. Anthony Cumia, like, that's a huge dude. Like, that's very impressive. Chiz, fair play. The problem with Chiz is that he's too close to the host. He's not an objective voice to be able to take charge and say, look, I'm I'm taking charge here. You are like slacking. You are taking the piss now. You are taking all this money in and you aren't fulfilling 100% on what you're supposed to be doing. You're not booking all these new trips and you're not getting all these get-togethers. You're not like doing the ringtones or the hangouts or whatever it may be. That's the problem with Chiz. He's doing a good job, but like at the end of the day, he's just their buddy. And if like, I hate to do this because it sounds rude, but if you were to kind of put them in an order of like kind of a hierarchy, like there's obviously the tree host at the top and then Chiz is below. Like there's no doubt about that. Like obviously on a personal level as a friendship, they're probably like all three kind of get on well, but as far as the show goes, Chiz is clearly below him, so he's not going to be able to take the mantle of kind of getting in charge and putting his foot down and be like, yo, Woody, get on it today, Kyle, get on today, because he just can't talk to him like that. He doesn't have that like authority, I guess you want to say. Like he just won't force the issue. He just doesn't want to upset his friends. He doesn't want to irritate his friends, and that's fair enough and that's understandable, and I can understand where he's coming from with that. But that's not what like the showrunner or whatever you want to call the guy is, like whatever you want to call like his job, that's not what he needs to be. They need to get rid of Chiz. Like Heather, back when Heather was in charge, she wasn't best friends with them, like, and she got like stuff was done and she did a good job. They need to get rid of Chiz or like put him into a different position, and they need somebody. Well, obviously, but you know, like as I'm saying that, they're not going to do that. Why would they do that? Why would they get somebody to bust their arse about it? Because they don't need to. Because going back to it again, they're millionaires. Like this grand a month or whatever it is, like. It's nothing. Maybe for Taylor it's a bit, it's helpful, but like really, like it's just not a lot, and it's not enough motivation. I think personally, but that's what I personally believe. It's not enough motivation for them to want to fulfill all these things. What another thing, as I'm saying this, it irritates me particularly about Woody as well, because he's always talking about like the shitty service that he gets in places, and that and I'm pretty sure Kyle has said it before, like as well, that they don't like shitty service. They don't like when they're paying for a thing to not get the service. And Woody Craft, he was always very certain that if you paid for something, you'd get it and you'd get the best treatment and all that kind of stuff. A happy customer as a returning customer or whatever. How can they be slacking with something like PKA, like with the Patreon? Like I do not get it. I don't understand why it's just so lazy. Even Nazaka, oh my god, I'm reading through this name. That's an old school name in the subreddit. Nazaka1, he's an Irish dude. People might remember from the subreddit. Boy, I miss this shit. I dropped my Patreon for pretty similar reasons, and I do not regret it. Nazaka1 was the absolute most active. I might have even, when I said replicated earlier on, it might have even been Nazaka1 that was the person that I was thinking about being super active. I'm pretty sure it was, actually, now that I think about it. Nazaka1 dropped his Patreon, and I would advise everyone to do the same, because clearly that's what needs to happen. That's what this thread is about. And again, I'll leave a link in the description to the thread. Yeah, that's just my opinion. I'm sure I've missed some stuff. I'm sure I went off on tangents and rambled and stuff like that, but it's something that's been built up as I've watched the episodes over the last couple of months, last year and a half, maybe 2 years. It's just been building in my head. It's just like, dude, these are multi-millionaires. They're taking people's money. They're not fulfilling it. I haven't seen any, like, something like internet connections and stuff like that, people dropping out of calls. It's improved a lot from the last years. The sound quality obviously has improved from, like, the earlier years and stuff like that. But it's still not, like, there's just a level that they could easily get to, I feel like, if they put in the effort. And, like, this could go on to be something. It just seems like they're happy to stagnate at, like, 100 to 150,000. Maybe an extra special guest will get, like, 200,000 at a maximum. On YouTube, at least, obviously. Maybe it just seems like they're happy to be hovering around that number, to be getting a couple of, like, $1.5 grand, $2 grand maybe each every month just for that, like just for hanging. I'll wrap up on this note. Let's not forget what this is. This isn't an incredible amount of work. At least for Woody, maybe, because he has to do the rendering and the uploading. And he stays up late and stuff like that. But he'll probably stay up late anyway. So I was just editing the video, and this point occurred to me that while I was talking about Woody doing all the work, it also reminded me that Taylor and Kyle don't even make the effort to learn how to do a backup recording. So, like, do you know the lost episodes that we've had? Or the things where, like, he doesn't hit record, so they have to start again? Fair play. I'm putting that out there. Obviously, thank you for, like, obviously starting again and going another 4 hours and doing, like, extra long shifts. But, like, to the point where when they had Pyro Puncher on, Pyro Puncher, the guest, was recording the backup. Like, that has to say something. Like, the guest took it upon himself to record a backup of the podcast in case anything went wrong. Like, why? Again, £1,000 a month just from Patreons alone. And Taylor and Kyle won't take it upon themselves to learn how to record a backup. We wouldn't have the issues. And, like, they get super upset and pissed off about, like, oh, we lost that whole episode and you're telling me we have to do another 4 hours again. Like, the stuff that they say in the podcast when this has occasionally happened. It's just, again, just reeks of lack of effort. Like, learn how to record a backup recording. Just a Skype recorder, a very simple Skype recorder or something. Just any kind of backup. I don't know, I thought I'd slip it in there while I was doing the editing. At the end of the day, this is just three friends and usually some pretty cool people just talking for a couple of hours, just hanging out as if they would do anyway. Like, and as if they did do anyway before there was any Patreon or like that. Obviously, they used to do it like an hour or two maximum, but now it's 4 hours or so. But like at the end of the day, we're like, it's not like they're being asked to do anything particularly actually taxing. If you look at it with a bit of context and a bit of perspective, it's literally just make a better thing out of you sitting down and shooting the shit with your friends. Another thing, Kyle's ad reads. Somebody brought that up as well. Kyle, really? You're getting paid £1,000 a month, and I know that's nothing money to you, right? That's fine. But you're getting paid £1,000 a month at least to read ads at the start, a couple of times throughout the middle, and at the end. And yet he said himself that he just doesn't bother reading them beforehand. He just shoots from the hip. As soon, like, if it's a brand new sponsor, it doesn't matter. He just shoots from the hip the first time on live on the show. That is wholly unprofessional, like insanely unprofessional. To not at least give it a read through before you go, and then start stumbling over your words or misspeaking or whatever like that. That's insane. But that's it. That was just the last thing that came into my head. I'm exhausted. I haven't done a 16-odd minute video in a long time where I just talk straight, but like this really was grinding my gears for the last couple of months, so at least. So that's it. Again, if I shared it on the subreddit, I hope you guys agreed and enjoyed it. If you're just watching it straight up on the channel, I hope you found it interesting if you did decide to stick around. But other than that, yeah, just if you liked it, please do leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new here. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.